coast to coast, it's your hosts, the Lombardi Leap and Mersey FB. This is Beyond the Frozen Tundra.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm one of your hosts here, Lombardi Leap, with Mersey FB as well. Let's talk Packers football. It's a new day at Lambeau Field, especially on the coaching staff. 2026 is kind of the 2025-2026 season has ended with Jeff Hafley going to the Dolphins. We said that already. Packers made the decision to hire former head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, former defensive coordinator for the Eagles in 2021 to 2022, where he led a top 10 defense, Jonathan Gannon. And it is going to be interesting to see what kind of takes shape here with the roster. You listened to the last episode, I did do a stock up and stock down, and this seems a lot more important now that we have a new defensive coordinator and then Jonathan Gannon. And then our defensive back coach is headed off to Miami as well. And then I also hear, rumor has it, Sean Duggan is expected to be the defensive coordinator by the time this gets released on Wednesday. He may already be the defensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles. So Jonathan Gannon's going to have to fill a couple of spots here on staff. Get started.
Which is kind of like best case scenario when you bring in the defensive coordinator is he gets to hire who he wants. Yeah, and also offensively, Adam Stenavich is being interviewed today on Monday for the Tennessee Titans job. Don't know if he'll get that. So
he does.
Hopefully he does. Tennessee, once he's in the building, don't let him leave.
Yeah. Please, Tennessee, keep him. Obviously, kind of getting to this roster here, the plan is just really kind of talk about the depth here. I talked specifically about who stocks up, who stock is down. As we're kind of getting to the draft here, you have to look at the defense here because the defense is really, I would say, defense and offensive line is really what kind of let you down end of the year again. Well, that and special teams. I mean, we can say that until we're blue in the face. But with Gannon here, I don't really know what to expect defensively because he ran a 4-3 in Philadelphia. Then he ran a 3-4 in Arizona, but he didn't call plays there. I know he likes to disguise his coverages. He likes the light. He's used the light boxes in the past. He did some kind of weird, I guess, or crazy stuff at Arizona, but talent-wise in Arizona, I don't think that was the greatest.
Yeah, a lot of the crazy stuff he did with Arizona was just trying to maximize his players. Because I think that Gannon excels at the self-scout, whereas Hafley kind of struggled with that to realize what is actually happening and then play to his players' advantages. If he doesn't have a set scheme, that's okay. I don't mind the versatility. You don't really want to live in base anyway.
I mean, especially
whether
the modern
that be
NFL.
a 4-3 or a 3-4. I think you'd like to see him again, build a defense around 4-man pressure, being able to win with 4. And so you'll see through free agency and the draft, changes in defensive philosophy. We're bringing in heavier defensive tackles, more zone corners maybe, because he likes to do cover 4.
And I do think,
so.
Yeah, and I do think it's one of those things too, where it's just the way the NFL is. The NFL is, and a lot of people don't like to hear this. I know people are well, I want the Packers to be more aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say this, Hafley on third down blitzed the second most in the NFL, specifically on third down. So what people need to understand is that aggression with our personnel, very few people can run man in the NFL. You have to have, 2 really good corners? 3?
Well, you have to have 2 really good corners who could run in the 4-3s. Good safeties, and then 1 kick-ass edge rusher who wins in 2 seconds no matter what. That's kind of what it takes to successfully run man coverage all the time.
And you definitely need that edge rusher. Fortunately, we have Micah Parsons.
The Seahawks are a good example of it. They run man almost more than anybody, and it works because their defensive line wins quickly. But they also have decent corners. But also LA kind of was coming back in that championship game until LA's defense fell apart. So
and their special teams.
Yeah, well, we don't want to talk about that, do we?
The Shanahan tree and special teams. I swear, they just don't care. It blows my mind. It really does. It absolutely blows my mind. I mean, as we kind of get into this year, we're going to be looking at this roster. It's not just about contracts here. It's going to be too specifically when it comes to the defense. Who can function inside Gannon's potential vision. But before we get into that, I mean, obviously we know where wins and losses come from specifically. That it's obviously a team sport, but if you don't have the quarterback, like I think this is a sound room. In terms of like Jordan Love, top 5 quarterback in the NFL. That's my opinion.
Yeah,
He got
depends on who the backup is, but that's okay.
And what people, I see a lot of people are like, well, the Packers need to draft a backup quarterback. Look, Sean Clifford, they drafted him in the 5th. That did not work out. Michael Pratt, they drafted. That didn't work out
7th.
either.
Yeah.
7th, yeah. And backup quarterback wise, it seems to me, and I think the Seahawks are proof of this too as well, or one of the teams. I think you find a cast off, and I think they did find a cast off here in Desmond Ridder. So if I'm the Packers, I'm not wasting a pick on a backup quarterback this year. Find a UDFA, find a practice squad quarterback.
Yeah, it's a training camp battle in the best kind of way between McCord and Ridder to be the backup QB. You could also have it bring in like a guy for rookie mini camp who you may really like, or just another training camp invite to fight for the QB 2 and 3 spot. But like Jordan Love, I wouldn't quite say top 5. I'd say like top 8. But you can do like Jordan Love's great. Malik Willis, bye. Someone will pay you like $40 million and we'll get like the first ever second round comp pick.
I wish. Let's go Miami. Come on.
Yeah.
Trigger.
I don't think they could afford to give another QB $40 million.
No, I don't think so. I mean, on the bright side, though, like you said, we have the quarterback set, at least the starting quarterback. I'm not worried about the backup quarterback. The next priority, though, is really controlling games, and that does start with Matt LaFleur's philosophy here at we want to run the football.
Mm-hmm.
This is where things get a little interesting.
Get murkier for sure.
Josh Jacobs is under contract. I don't think people are like, well, he could be a surprise cut candidate. He could be if the Packers get a hold of like Kenneth Walker or the Jets running back.
Breece Hall? In
Breece
no
Hall.
world does that happen.
Again, I'm not saying it happened. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but people were shocked when we signed Josh Jacobs.
Well, yeah, we also just have like significantly less money.
You have to remember, though, what did they do? They cut
Aaron Jones
so that way they could sign Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is due almost $15 million going into next year. I give it a small possibility, but I don't think it's out of the question completely. It would be wild. I don't think I don't think like it's going to happen. I'd say if I had to like put a percentage on it, I'd say 95% Josh Jacobs this year. I think he's a team player. I think he's part of the team. I think it's more likely they kind of rework his deal or restructure him, possibly. Even though I don't really want to restructure a running back's contract, but I do think that there's a slight possibility where you look at that number and you think, okay, well, let's see how much. Let's just check and see how much Breece Hall and Kenneth Walker will want a year. And if they say, oh yeah, I'll take 11, would you do that? Like for Kenneth Walker or Breece Hall?
For Kenny Walker, for sure.
It's tempting.
I maybe not Breece because Breece has struggled with injury.
That's New York, man. That place takes souls. But yeah, Kenneth Walker, I really like, and I think Sportica has his estimated contract, his APY at $9 million a year for Kenneth Walker. Yeah. So if the Packers want to make a move.
Important to note that Josh Jacobs is hitting that like age 29 season.
Mm-hmm.
So he is getting older. A lot of wear on those tires. Even though he is under contract, like you mentioned, he could be cut. Moving
Small
on.
possibility.
Marshawn Lloyd still on his rookie deal. He has not yet seen the field in the NFL in a regular season game.
Yeah. Not even sure he's a real person at this point. I've seen.
Yeah, that's
in the
like the
locker room.
murky situation. You're not sure exactly if he's healthy. You'd like him to be your change of pace running back, but you'd like him to also keep his hamstrings attached to his body.
And this draft too isn't exactly the greatest running back draft. It's a lot more day 3 talent from what I've seen here. I mean, there are a couple of guys that I do like that are kind of change of pace pass catching back, but I mean, if the Packers go into this draft and they don't draft a running back, it wouldn't shock me because I think Chris Brooks will come back. And then I like Emmanuel Wilson, I think earned the right to go start somewhere, but I also think he's replaceable with Damian Martinez. And I say that.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that for sure. Mm-hmm.
Well, Pierre Strong actually has a really nice, he's actually a lot quicker than I thought. he has a lot more breakaway speed than I kind of realized. Whereas like Damian Martinez is honestly, he's the exact same. He's the exact same RAS score as Emmanuel Wilson, except he's got a little more weight on him. Like
Hmm.
almost the exact same 40-yard time. It's kind of crazy. The thing is with Pierre Strong is was he was a 4th round pick by the Patriots. Like I think that's something we forget about. And his RAS score was a 9.35. We're in a 4.3. So those are two guys I think that they could look to kind of. I think Pierre Strong could compete with Marshawn Lloyd, and then I think Damian Martinez is going to be potentially your Emmanuel Wilson type back moving forward. If they bring back Chris Brooks on a minimum deal, like, I don't like it's murky, but it's definitely not as murky as some of the other positions. I mean, I don't know. How do you feel about like Pierre Strong and Damian Martinez?
I would echo that statement. Like, I think that they're more than capable coming in as kind of like when whoever your bell cow is gets hurt or just kind of has to like take some of the load off. I think that would work out well. I do think that if Emmanuel Wilson leaves in free agency, that it's more than likely going to be Damian Martinez over Pierre Strong because Damian's younger.
Yeah, I mean they're both picks. Fortunately, like
Mhm.
one's a 7th and one's a 4th.
Yeah. So, and it kind of saves us from having to use a draft pick this year for a guy like I'm personally really high on Katron Allen and Jamal Haynes. Even though they're two different types of running backs, I think that they would both work for Green Bay. Like Jam Miller is another one too. So it's all like there are positions where it's like depth is glaringly needed, and this isn't quite one of them. So the more that you can retain, the better, in my opinion.
Yeah. And speaking of where depth isn't needed, we can just get this out of the way real quick. Wide receivers. Obviously, Christian Watson, he's under contract for another year. He signed a de facto extension, but it still qualifies him for another extension. Romeo Dubs is gone. People need to again. We said this all season. He's gone. He's gone. He's unrestricted. He's going to go get paid elsewhere. Probably net us a 3rd round comp pick. Jaden Reed and Dontavian Wicks are under contract for another year. I've heard speculation from other beat writers that they think they could draft another slot wide receiver this year. Maybe. I like a gentleman who's on this roster who they signed to the active roster. I think he can play slot, and that is Jacoby Keeney James. I really like him. I like him as a punt returner here. Once he gets feet wet, I think he's going to be a valuable piece there. Will Melton will probably be back as Will Melton will probably be back at wide receiver. Let's be real.
Depending on the severity of his knee injury, how early he'll be able to be back.
Yeah, I didn't sound like it was anything too bad, but he was just going to missed the remainder of the year. Obviously there. And then Matthew Golden sliding into that number 2 role. So you're kind of 1, 2, 3 are Christian Watson, Matthew Golden, Jaden Reed with Savion, Keeney James, Bo Melton, and Wicks as your backup wide receivers, right?
Yeah, sorry to cut
probably
you
the
off, but I think you might take one more wide receiver. I don't know the exact body type you'd like, but it's no guarantee that both of Wicks or Reed stay given the amount of other people you're going to have to pay. So
I also do like talking about the wide receiver room on the practice squad. I mean, Isaiah Nair is kind of a big bodied guy. He was on the roster. Will Shepard is another guy I really do like. He was on the practice squad. He got elevated a little bit here. Like, if you're trying to replace Romeo Dobbs, I mean, Isaiah Nair and Will Shepard are the two guys I think that you can get the production from, similar to like a Malik. Either way, though, like those two guys aren't slot wide receivers, kind of like you mentioned. Like maybe they take a more slot guy. We'll have to kind of see, but it's a lot more secure than the tight end room, I'd say. I mean, that tight end room. Is there anybody that's still alive outside of Luke Musgrave at this point?
Tucker Kraft should be back for week 1, right?
Yeah, because of when he.
Yeah. He'll
the
likely
ACL.
miss a large portion of training camp, if not all of it. But he's one of the guys where it doesn't really matter if he gets a training camp, he'll still be good to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
John Fitzpatrick won't be back on this team.
Unfortunately, no. That
It
Achilles injury.
is a coin flip to me whether Wiley is back or not. I think they might like him as tight end 3. It just depends.
Yeah, this could be one area where I think that they may again look at either somebody else's practice squad or they just kind of might look at the free agent pool after like the entire draft is done.
Yeah, like the free agent pool in like August. But
Yes, yeah.
I I think that this is one of the situations where hindsight is 2020. At the start of the year, you released Ben Sims.
Fortunately.
Once
yeah.
Tucker went down and all the injuries started piling up, a guy like Ben Sims would have been great to have,
Mhm.
but he was on the Vikings roster. So
Ben Sims is a free agent too, which is kind of funny.
mhm. They could look at him, bringing him back, because personally, the tight end class, for the role we're looking at, kind of more of like a primary blocker who still can make the plays receiving. Like you're kind of looking for like a mini Tucker Craft.
Yeah, we'll have to look at those. I mean, I think free agent wise, I know Charlie Kohler is a free agent. Packers did have interest in him out of Iowa State back in the
Oh yeah.
NFL draft. I think if anything, they might just draft like day 3. They have 3 7th-round picks. Pick up somebody from there or another like a UDFA. I know they really like the tight end Jack Bailing, I think is his name, out of Michigan State. You're going to see him play quite a few times actually. And Michigan State did not play well this year. With the tight ends, it's like again they're extremely banged up. I think one of the most disappointing rooms was the O line. Rasheed
Mhm.
Walker gone. I don't think Sean Ryan's going to be back. I think that we should. I think the writing was on the wall for Sean Ryan when they signed Anthony Belton,
Well,
Jenkins.
was that Sean Ryan at guard or Sean Ryan at center? Because I think
You
they
know-
bring him back at center cheap.
I don't think, from my understanding, I don't think so. I don't think they
So
want
they're
Sean Ryan.
bringing back. I thought they were gonna cut Elton.
They're gonna cut Elton. Yes, Elton's gone, 100%. Sean Ryan is going to go play guard somewhere else, and that's what his
Okay,
agent's gonna
so
push for.
heading into next year, we're looking at like Jacob Monk or a rookie starting for us
Yeah.
at center.
Yep.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
Well, I don't have a problem with that.
No.
I don't, especially a rookie. Some of these again, a lot of the people are like, oh, I don't necessarily like.
Get ready to learn Brian Parker, buddy.
Yeah, dude, I really like him. I do really like Brian Parker. There's some Packer connection there. He's like one of the few people who I think could actually play center, not having played center in college. So I like what there is there. There's definitely a lot of options that I think the Packers like. I like as well after digging into them. I think people are just trying to find Tyler Linderbaum, and you're just not going to find Tyler Linderbaum. There's no second round center this year, in my opinion. There's a lot of really solid guys who can come in and perform well, I believe, right away in like rounds 4 and 5, which that's where the Packers end up getting an all-pro anyways. So you're keeping Jacob Monk to kind of see if he can compete. Rasheed Walker's gone. We know Jordan Morgan's finally going to get his shot at left tackle. Zach Tom is going to under contract. Hopefully he'll feel better. Everybody's like, they should cut Aaron Banks. No, they're not going to cut Aaron Banks because Jimmy Graham played infinitesimally worse and still got 2 seasons. And a lot of what Aaron Banks' problem was he got beat sometimes. He had a Rasheed Walker and an inconsistent center problem. So if you get him a center who's going to actually play consistently, and I think Jordan Morgan over at left tackle, I think that Aaron Banks contract you're going to see going into next year. I'm probably going to, hopefully I don't eat these words, but your offensive line I think is going to play a lot better. And it sounds like they're going to maybe be getting a new offensive line coach too as well, potentially. There's a lot of hope here with Morgan at left tackle, Banks at left guard, potential rookie center, Belton, second-year jump at right guard, and Zach Tom at right tackle. Got to keep Jordan Love up.
Yeah, I think it'll help keep him upright. I think this is where you look at a lot of depth picks or signings or re-signings. They'll try and probably bring back Darian Kennard.
Yeah.
Maybe Donovan Jennings as well, but
he's an ERFA, so that's kind of a no-brainer. That's just free money.
Travis Glover will come off IR. So should John Williams. So you might see another pick. Well, you're going to see a pick at center for sure. And you might see another pick at tackle or guard. And they kind of like to pick players who can do both. So
yeah, well, they really like to pick tackles and then turn them into guards. I know that like a couple guys they are really interested in, specifically Tristan Lay. He's out of Clemson. They interviewed him at the Shrine Bowl. They been to 4 of his games specifically there at Clemson. So there's definitely a lot of interest there. And he's a later round guy. I think he's like a 6th round pick right now. And then also out of Wisconsin, Another guy, Riley Mallman. He's a third round pick.
Did well at
Or
Shrine.
sorry, not a third round pick. He's a like a seventh rounder, sixth rounder too as well. Yeah, did very well at the Shrine Bowl. Packers went to 3 games there as well. I definitely agree with you. I think that if they're going to pick a guy, a tackle guy, don't expect it to be high here. They'll pick a center high because they want him to start right away. And I mean, like probably in the 4th round. But I would not expect an offensive tackle, especially a guard, at all within the first 4 rounds, unless you count a center. Unless you count a center as a guard.
Yeah, probably not. They
Like,
also could dip back into the Wake Forest tackle pool and draft Falili Falamo. He also kicked some butt at Shrine.
another Zach Tom right there.
Yeah.
And then another guy too, I think to look at is Brant Banks on the practice squad. The staff really, really likes him. I mean, he was elevated onto the roster, got cut, went to Tennessee for a little bit, got cut there, and then they brought him back. So they really like Brant Banks at tackle. He does kind of fit that mold. I think that's another guy to take a look at here. Overall, though, I do think moving forward, the Packers' offensive line is going to be in a better place than it was. Let's get into, though, the defense here because a new defensive coordinator means a lot of new stuff. Edge room, I think, is arguably way better, and I think you'd agree with me, than the defensive tackle room. Micah Parsons, coming back from his ACL injury, will probably play starting in, I think they said, September? I know he said week 1.
I'm thinking week 3 is like the realistic return date.
Yes. Yeah.
But you don't start him on IR or like PUP. You just have him active roster. He's on the 53, and then he'll come back week 3.
And I mean, you can elevate a guy off the practice squad if you really need. I think Rashawn Gary's gone. It's a matter of, is he going to just get cut outright, or is somebody going to actually trade for him? That's kind of the big question, isn't it?
Well, I think you could get some sort of value for him. Like Brian Gutekunst got a 3rd round pick for Haha when he traded him.
He also got a 7th for Preston Smith, and
Right.
Preston still had money on his contract, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, I think people we criticize him a lot, like we do. But if it's the one thing that Brian Gutekunst can do is somehow he convinces other teams to take our garbage and pay for it, and he does a good job. He does a really good job at that.
Well, when you're thinking of it, it's like Rashawn Gary's only 28. They could look at the scheme this year and view it as a down year and a poor scheme fit, and some defensive coordinator could be like, well, I can do a better job with him.
And the money isn't really that bad when you see where these defensive end contracts are going.
He's also been like a very good run defender.
Yeah.
That's always been his calling card. So.
And he's a good locker room guy. Like, from my understanding of it, they like having him in the locker room. But I do think it's time to go, especially when we've seen Lucas Van Ness take strides. He's under contract. They just drafted Baron Sorrell. You and I both really like him. I really liked Colin Oliver coming out. I know he was drafted in the 5th, but I think that was only because of injuries. I personally had a late 2nd, early 3rd round grade on Colin Oliver. So the fact that the Packers got him in the 5th, I felt like was a steal. And I think that it was evident in the 15 snaps you saw towards the end of the year there against Minnesota. JJ Enagbare, yeah, probably. I would still monitor his market, and if somebody's like if it's like a cheaper contract, maybe he'll stay for like another year or something like that if it's not really out there. Especially if Gannon does what he has done with the Eagles and gets 70 sacks this season. Like, I'd be like, all right. But one of Brenton Cox Jr. and Aaron Mosby, you can guarantee probably I could see both those guys being back on like veteran minimum deals here, just being restricted free agents. Overall, though, and you said this to me too, I'd be fine with them not drafting a defensive end this year.
There's no sense. There's no point in it. Even if like your group heading into the end of the 3 week or 2 games where Micah Parsons doesn't play is LVN, Baron Sorrell, Colin Oliver, and probably Brenton Cox because you'll bring him back for cheap. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. And like if you really wanted a guy, I mean, there's a couple like lower quality free agents like Josh Uche. I think he has connections to Gannon from Philadelphia. I could see them bringing him in as kind of a veteran presence while Gary's gone and Micah's still coming back, and he can kind of help with the scheme thing too. Kind of, it's always good to have guys who know Jonathan Gannon in this instance and are able to communicate a scheme. And I think Josh Uche is one of those guys that could do that there for sure. Overall, though, probably just like the wide receiver room, like very, very secure here. I want to get into the defensive tackle room here because this is the room where, man, there's a lot going on here. You and I both like Warren Brinson. I think he's outplayed his contract or has outplayed his draft.
Despite what PFF grades say, in one bad penalty, he was the best defensive tackle for the Packers throughout the end of the season. Like, since Wyatt went down, he was the best one.
Yeah, definitely. Wyatt coming back, though, on his fifth-year option. Maybe he gets an extension. Lower leg injury. That was kind of rough. Warren Brinson really
pretty much blew up the lower part of his leg. Unfortunately, blew up his ankle, so.
Should be back, though, at the start of the season. Fortunately, it's going to be interesting to see how it's affected him. Other than that, though, I like Nazir Stackhouse as a nose tackle, but he needs to get more consistent at an anchor. Carl Brooks, I think, could get cut because he's due $3.4 million, all unguaranteed. And it's like, do you really think Carl Brooks is worth that much? Almost $4 million, $3.5 million?
No.
I don't either.
Like, with Wyatt out, he is technically their best pass rushing defensive tackle.
So, I mean, because the draft year, they have to draft the defensive tackle.
They're going to draft like 2 or 3 easily. It just depends on what archetype of defensive tackle they want.
Like, Riley wasn't bad. Riley's kind of what, a 0-1 tech, right?
Yes. Also tore his Achilles week 17.
Oh, yes.
Or week 18.
Yeah. So realistically, Nazir Stackhouse is pretty much your only 0 tech, your nose tackle right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jonathan Ford, but he's a restricted free agent. I don't even know if they bring him back. I just don't. You and I both don't like Colby Wooden. If you guys haven't picked up on that by now.
Ideally, Colby Wooden is your DT4 or DT3.
Ideally, he's not on the roster. Sorry, buddy. I'm just not a fan. I don't like what they did with him. I don't like what they tried to do with him. Yeah, DT4.
The pick was a little shocking, in the moment in
2023. It was so bizarre. A defensive end converted to defensive tackle, and he didn't really work out as a 3 tech, so then they tried to convert him to basically a 1 tech, that nose tackle-esque position in the offseason. He's still too light. I can see them keeping him over Carl Brooks just because Colby Wooden didn't hit his escalators, so it's I think it's a $1.2 million contract for Colby versus Carl Brooks is 3.4, 3.5. Unfortunate numbers game there. And if you're drafting, if you draft 2 guys, Wyatt and Brinson are locks, I think.
You keep Stackhouse.
You keep Stackhouse, that's
cheap,
3.
and he's if you develop him well.
Yeah, I think he'll be good. I think given this offseason, I think he's going to come back better. I do like the potential there too. So those 3 guys are a lot. You draft 2 more guys, and I don't know, do you think they keep 6 defensive tackles again? Or do they just do that because they needed bodies?
No.
I think, 5 defensive tackles, at least Carl Brooks and Colby Wooden, definitely Jonathan Ford out.
I think they draft, in my head, here's how it plays out. Wyatt, Brinson, Stackhouse, all back, locks for sure. Brooks, let's say he's cut because you said he hit his escalators, so he's now more expensive. I think conservatively you draft 2 defensive tackles.
Mm-hmm.
And so that leaves Wooden on the outside looking in come training camp. And then he could very well get cut on cut down day.
If he beats out, and it could be too, he could have to compete with Stackhouse for that.
Yeah, Stackhouse could get cut as well and aim to be brought back on the practice squad. I just don't think a player like Stackhouse would be brought back. Or
I don't think he'd make it.
I don't think he would clear waivers is what I meant to say. But this is a really good defensive tackle class for what it's looking like we're going to need, especially with Gannon's philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
I'd start naming names, but there's a lot.
Yeah, we'll get into those episodes too. I'm excited to talk about some guys here, especially with the Shrine Bowl coming up. It's Micah Parsons obviously is the game changer in the entire defensive tackle room or defensive line room. Defensive line room. So it's going to be interesting to see how Gannon uses that. There are a surplus of edges, so it kind of makes certain guys expendable. I do think the Packers go heavy defensive line, like you said. That makes kind of the back end guys a little bit more expendable here. And when you can win up front here, that kind of shifts the burden to the second level Quay Walker is I don't know what they do with him. I know in the building they like him, but the question is that are you going to pay him 12 to 15 million dollars a year? Like that realistically is the question. And linebacker I think is kind of a misunderstood position. And the more I've had this explained to me, the more I've looked into it, I tend to agree with it. The Packers have taken these uber athletic linebackers, and the only one that really has kind of worked out, it seems like, is Edrin Cooper, who's the best of both worlds. And like I love Quay Walker to death, and I think he does a lot, but when it comes to his ability to dissect his own play, I think he's great at relaying calls. I just don't think he's necessarily the best dissector himself.
Yeah, I've started to warm up to the idea that Quay Walker isn't on this team come spring. I think another team will sign him. And they'll have it'll be a team with a good linebacker coach being like, I can fix him. And then they'll bring him in to be the green dot at another team. He's drawing interest from Atlanta, among others.
Miami too. Jeff Hafley loves him.
I think that you might see Green Bay look at a more cerebral linebacker in the draft or free agency. But again, some money constraints kind of limit what you can do. So
if Gannon can bring in a good linebackers coach, and I'm pretty sure he knows the guy, he's a good linebackers coach, and he can get guys like Isaiah McDuffie and especially Hopper here.
I don't like McDuffie being on this team, but Hopper and JDJ are kind of the developmental guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was kind of my point too, is that if the linebacker coach, whoever that is, can come in and really pull Hopper and Jamin Dumas Johnson here to the next level. This linebacker room's great with those three guys. With
Coop, Hopper, and JDJ.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think that's awesome. I
think Neiman gets brought back as a special teamer only.
Mm-hmm.
But
he's
also,
he's 30.
Is he actually 30?
I'm pretty sure he's 30. Yeah.
There's no way.
Nick Neiman is not a young chicken. No, he's 28. He turns 29. 29.
Okay.
I was close.
So we get one more year of Nick Neiman being a good special teamer for us. It depends on Quay Walker, not going to be on this team. You have a spot to fill. Of late, I've noticed a trend of the better linebackers in the league not being the freak athletes. There are a few who are the freak athletes, the Fred Warners of the world and everybody, Fred Warner, Edrin Cooper, but a lot of them are just very good processors.
That's the big thing.
And I'm going to say a name to you.
I already know what you're going to say.
And you might hate me for it.
I already know what you're going to say.
I'm starting to realize that there is a good chance that he is on this, that they are going to be looking at him heavily because of the hole that Quay will leave. It's Jacob Rodriguez.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was talking about this with some other people today, and I have warmed up to it. I hope he tests a little better than I expect him to, because I've kind of called him Blake Martinez.
It's the 40 speed that I worry about with him.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's going to be a little undersized. He's not going to quite be as small as Kyle Lewis is, who's also in this draft class, but it's Jacob Rodriguez or it's Aiden Fisher. And Jacob Rodriguez, I believe, is less athletically limited than Aiden Fisher.
I don't know. I like the way Aiden Fisher moves. I like
him too, but I think that you're with Aiden Fisher, you're just getting a younger Isaiah McDuffie.
That's fair. I guess. I think he's more athletic than he leads on. I really do. It's he has really good linear speed. And we're kind of getting off topic here, but I am looking forward to, we'll have to go position by position, for the NFL draft, talk about a whole bunch of guys here, especially. But on to this secondary room. I think one room we can pretty much just skip over. It's a safety room. Xavier McKinney, awesome. Evan Williams, awesome. Javon Bullard, nickel, awesome. Kit Olandabo, unfortunately can't see the field, but he's awesome. Jalen Simpson
is great special teamer.
Great special teamer too, yeah. And I think Jalen Simpson's going to replace your Zane Anderson as your special teams depth. Jalen Simpson, I really liked him as a gunner on special teams. When I saw him play there, you don't have to touch this room. You literally do not have to touch this room at all whatsoever. It is perfect. It is a perfect safety room.
Before we go, and I think the coaching will matter now.
I think it's going to get better.
I think it'll get better, but it just depends on who the hire will be. I would like to see it split up between, before we just had defensive backs coach. I would like to see a dedicated cornerbacks coach and safeties coach.
Yes. Yeah. And I think Ryan Dowder, that was our defensive back coach. I think he was a good safety coach. I do not think he was a good defensive back.
So hopefully Gannon will have the foresight to split up the two.
Like, I understand you
But
want to be
moving
versatile.
on to cornerback coach, unless you want to get that.
Moving on
out
to
of the
the
way.
abysmal cornerback room.
Yeah.
Carrington Valentine's still here. Nate Hobbs, everybody's like, they're going to cut him. No, they're not
They
going to cut
won't.
him. They only save $1.2 million. They don't even save enough for a veteran minimum contract. Like, you're not
Mhm.
cutting him. Keyshawn Nixon, however, $5 million is $5 million. And if you can draft two guys, that dude's going to be on notice. I really think so. Depending on how bad. I mean, I know I saw that picture of Kamal Hayden's knee. That was kind of gross. I'd never want to see that ever again.
Oh yeah, his ankle that was pretty
yeah,
brutal.
ankle.
I think
Oh.
he might be back. They might re-sign him cheap, but he'll start the year on PUP for sure.
ERFA again, so free money there. Depending on how bad it was and what the recovery was, the pictures tend to make it. What does it say? Pictures add 5 pounds. I think that's kind of the case here. Hopefully,
Mhm.
make your injury look worse. You and I both like Shamar Bartholomew. We think there's stuff there, and then Tyron Herring. I like him. I think there's potential there for like depth special teams pieces. I think you draft two people. It's just a matter of when. Is it going to be in the second round or is it going to be the third round? When are you going to draft your first quarterback? Lord willing, it's
This is a topic for another episode because we can have a more detailed conversation about it. It literally depends who is on the board.
yeah, it really
Whether
does.
you like someone like if Christian Miller is there, run that pick up. If it's Christian Miller or Chris Johnson, that's an argument that's going to be had in the coaching, like in the war room. I would be on the Miller side of it. I think you would be on the Johnson side of it.
Oh man, I would take Johnson. 7 days a week and twice on Sunday and leap year. I think Johnson's that good.
I don't doubt that he can be that good. But also, God, what was it? Gannon, a lot of zone, right? A lot of
Yeah.
zone. So I don't trust Keyshawn Nixon to play zone.
I don't trust Keyshawn Nixon to play anything.
Mhm.
Unfortunately.
You're gonna see 2 to 3 defensive tackle picks and at least 3 corners. I think.
That's you think they're going 3 and 3 or 2 and 3, 2 defensive tackles, 3 corners. So out of our 8 picks, you think 5 are going to be all for those 2 rooms?
Maybe then 2 and 2.
I'd say 2 and 2. I would say 2 and 2.
Because the only position you have satisfied for the corners is like nickel. Everybody else can be replaced.
Well, I think again, like the reason is I say it's 2 and 2 is because I think Nate Hobbs is going to play well outside next year. That is my bold prediction
Yeah.
right now.
But I don't think they want to see Carrington Valentine on the field anymore. We
Yeah.
don't like Nixon. They seem to like Nixon quite a lot. But if you draft like Malik Muhammad and someone else later,
Because Nixon could tackle.
Mhm.
That's the only reason why. That's legitimately the only reason why. He couldn't cover. I mean, Carrington Valentine was kind of iffy at times, but like Carrington Valentine just couldn't tackle at all to save his life. So that's kind of where.
like outside of Bullard as the nickel, everything else is up for grabs in my opinion.
Yeah.
Would it suck to pay like your corner for like $17 million a year? Yeah, but
And there is the possibility that Diggs comes back as well, that Trayvon Diggs comes back. That's for like a veteran minimum. They could dip into, they had interest in guys like Alontae Taylor, whose contract I don't think is going to be all that expensive. There's also Cam Taylor-Britt, who's coming off a down year. He probably ends up in Indianapolis, though. They also expressed interest in, there's Britt, there's Alontae Taylor, and then I think Cordell Flott, too. Is another guy who they expressed interest in at the trade deadline. So there are some options if they want to go that way. If they want to like cut Nixon and say, here, we'll give you the $5 million instead, I would not be opposed to that at all whatsoever. Because this room struggled, and one of the biggest areas it struggled in is communication. And that's on the defensive back coach, that's on the corners themselves and the secondary. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. Let's talk about our favorite room here to kind of close things out. Brandon McManus is on thin ice. You and I both know that. He should be on thin ice. Fritz Bisaccia is probably back because for some odd reason they worship him at Lambeau Field. I don't understand. He's not a good special team coach. From my understanding of it is he's an awesome coach. He's not a great special team coach. He's a great culture guy. He's respected by a lot of people. But guess what? Respect doesn't win you championship. If they wanted to just transition him to a head coaching role, I think that, or like an associate head coach role, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Bring their own coordinator.
Yeah, like come on,
Yeah.
they need somebody new in there. Like they just do. It's ridiculous. But my bold prediction for this room, I think Lucas Havrisik wins the starting kicker job.
Through camp, I think that would be smart. I don't understand why he wasn't the kicker through the back half of the year after nailing that like franchise long field goal.
Yep, that's on.
Could just be that he like sucks outside, but
it's MetLife though. It's horrible. MetLife claims souls there.
He kicked that in Arizona.
I know, but when he missed, he missed.
Oh, did he play? He kicked the Giants game?
Yes, yeah, that was him.
Oh,
and he missed a bunch, and it
I
was
thought
like
that was McManus.
No, nope.
Oh.
They had him. Yeah, they had him kick there after sitting him for 2 weeks. Which again, like that to me, like your kicker's kicking hurt. You bench your other kicker who has the hot leg. Like that to me, Rich Bisaccia should be fired for that reason alone. Like no other reason outside of that. That is my only reason there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he wins it there.
Incredibly fickle position. Also, there are like dudes available. Should we want to like sign one as a UDFA?
Yeah, kind of bring some more competition in. Maybe they take a look after the draft. Look for like another rookie kicker.
The UGA guy, or Georgia guy, who I can't remember his name.
They definitely are going to have options.
Yeah, it'll be a battle in training camp. Mm-hmm. Should it be? No, but it will be.
But it will be, yeah.
And who's that Ole Miss guy who like rocked during the playoffs?
I don't even know if he's out. I don't think he's going yet.
Yeah. We'll look up Georgia's kicker right now because I can't remember.
Peyton Woodring?
Yeah, Woodring.
All SEC honors.
Mm-hmm. He would be worthwhile bringing in.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. If you can bring a guy to compete in camp, and if they win it, they win it. I'd save money there. But ultimately, like this offseason right now, the Packers are going to have to fix some holes, specifically at defensive tackle and corner. And then they're going to have some interesting decisions to make, too, at those two positions, because those are some positions where guys like Keyshawn Nixon, Colby Wooden, Carl Brooks may not be on the roster next year. Same for like guys like Rashawn Gary. Like Jonathan Gannon is going to have a lot of work ahead of him, kind of getting everybody on the same page and getting us a top 10 defense so that way we can go compete for another Super Bowl here. And hopefully everybody stays healthy. That's another thing too. I don't know how good he is at that. Like if he could bring some medical magic and make sure everybody stays healthy, that would be awesome. Next episode, though, we are going to be talking about the Shrine Bowl here, the Senior Bowl starting up end of this week, but we'll definitely talk more about the Shrine Bowl, some guys that you and I both like there. I'm excited and looking forward to it. Until next time, folks, that's all.
To Packers fans coast to coast, thanks for going beyond the frozen tundra. We appreciate you tuning in. And as always, go Pack Go!